Just to jump in and get started, here's the CDBG team. We have not added anybody new since we talked last. And so whenever we do, you'll see them on here. You'll see them out with us.
So today this will be pretty quick, probably 10-15 minutes, depending on how many questions we have. We just first want to go through CDR updates. That deadline is coming up close on August 30th for applications. We'll talk about the 2024 program public notice date for our 2024 programs. And then we'll talk a little bit about 2023 funding availability that is still out there to be applied for. And then Q&A for everybody at the end.
Right, starting with CBR updates. I know a lot of you I've had conversations with. I know I'm getting a lot of emails from people with just kind of random one-off questions. Just to remind all of you, applications are due on August 30th, so you have just under 2 weeks to get those in. I'm hoping that project award dates will be out in October. We put October-ish, which is why I don't want you to hold me, super crazy if it goes a little bit later than October. It really just depends on how many we get in and how long that grant review takes. But my goal is to get projects awarded in October. If anybody has questions, we can spend a couple minutes now to go through, but I don't want to take up the entire time for CDR questions. We've had a couple of office hours, and then I've been trying to get to everybody's emails as best as possible. Holly, I know you're on here. I sent you an email about getting in touch. Let me know when you can chat.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
All right, are there any questions about CVR before we move on? Anything anyone's working on, has a question on? No, it's already passed.
I do have one quick question for now.
Go for it.
The start of the business, does that depend on the time the EIN number was acquired, or is that registration with the state?
I'm going with the EIN number. We're using a lot of the EIN numbers as kind of the basis for that information. So use the EIN number.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. When we do Q&A later, if you have any CVR questions, we can do that here at the end too. So just hold them for a little bit.
Yeah, so our public notice date for our 2024 programs has been set. That date is October 5th. I believe the location, in-person location is Topeka here in one of our conference rooms. Is that correct, Ann? For our public notice?
It will either be here at Commerce or at Kansas Housing Resources Corporation.
And it will have a Zoom function or a...
Correct, or a WebEx. Yeah.
So there'll be a WebEx functions for people to join that public hearing. It'll be October 5th. Do we have the time? Okay, we don't have the time yet. So more details are to come on that. But then at that point, we'll have release our proposed 2024 award of program design. We may also, if there are any other changes to CDBG, we will announce those at that date. In terms of third Thursday for next month, if we have a good handle on what we think the program design will be for the public hearing, I will do a little preview of the programs at next month's third Thursday. So I'm hoping, don't hold us to that. If we can get all the information and all the guidelines and stuff sort of sorted out generally, then we could certainly present a preview of that next third Thursday. So by October 5th, you will definitely hear at the very latest the program designs or proposed program designs for next year. In terms of application timelines and stuff like that, I'm thinking at this point, the due date would be April 1st at the earliest, more than likely May 1st again, just to give people enough time to develop programs and to come up with quality applications. So that is the update on the public notice. I didn't put this on the slide, but I do want to thank Any of the grant administrators that attended our grantee administration workshop in McPherson last month, we really appreciate it. We think it was very helpful and informative, and it was a great way to get a touch point with all the administrators. We're thinking we will plan another grant administrator training after January 1st. We think we don't need one before December. So look for another administrator training after January 1st. Okay? All right. 2023 funding availability. Everyone knows our competitive rounds have closed. We still have funding available for housing. We have enough funding available for one and a half for 2 commercial rehab projects, about a little over 400,000. Economic development projects are still open if anyone has an interest or wants to talk about those. Recently, Tim and I have had some conversations with a few different people across the state with some ideas for that. Regional water planning, this is one of the, or the only program that we haven't had an application in this year. If anyone is interested or would like to talk about it, please reach out to us, whether it can work for you or whether it can't work for you. So that's one of the programs we're certainly looking at for potential changes for next year. So yeah, that's it. If you got a commercial rehab, economic development or housing idea or application, reach out to us soon. All right. Okay, couple more, just additional, a little bit of TA we wanted to provide first off about emailing CDBG staff. Try when you're emailing us so we can get you a response quickly and from the right person. Only try and put one person's name in the address box, and then if you need to CC other people, CC them. This way, the person who it's intended for knows it's for them and not for someone else, and can provide an answer quickly. It's not a big deal, but it's just something we wanted everyone to be aware of. And then Linda has a tip on the time extension. Linda. Oh, shoot the button.
You went back to muted.
All right, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I have been getting in some budget amendments or basically time extensions. And I want to make everybody aware, and I went back and looked through what we had done with our handbook. And in our handbook, when you go to the form, the budget amendment or the time extension reform, it asks for a brief description of why you need the time extension within that piece. The letter is where you put the more detailed, the more details and more information about why you need that time extension or budget amendment. Many of them that I've seen lately have had the same language in both pieces. And that seems a little not fair to you to have to cut and paste all that information into both forms. So the handbook will support that. And so if you have any questions about that, just let us know.
All right, thank you, Linda.
Sure.
Yeah, and with that, obviously we've been fairly busy with designing our new programs for next year, so we don't have too much more for today, but we do want to answer, open it up for questions about really anything CDBG related. Could be something on a project you're working on or a proposal or anything else. So if you have any questions, please let us know.
I have a question for the income forms. Do the owners of businesses for the CDR grant fill out the income forms as well, even if they don't pay themselves through the business?
Holly, yeah, I would assume that they would be the ones to fill those out, correct?
Okay. Do each, oh, I'm sorry.
Just gonna go off of yours. Do we have the self-certifying form ready?
It is not yet ready. We will be getting that out before we send out grant awards. And so that information won't be necessary for the actual application. It will be for the cities and counties to collect when they are distributing the funds.
Right, I just had some people asking about them. They wanted to.
Gotcha,
see them.
Crystal. Crystal, I'll get them, when they are completed, I'll blast them out to everybody so that everybody has a copy.
This is gonna be the standard form for everything? Okay.
Yeah. Let's get that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question about the environmental, the determination of level of review. Does each business or each project need a determination of level of review? And is that the same form as the other CDBG applications?
I would assume, yes, correct, because all CDBGs need an environmental review. So, yes, and yes, Holly.
Okay, and then in the same line, is there separate budget forms that need to be completed for each of the businesses through the CDR grant, or is it just one budget form? And then where's the template?
Great question. I think you can just do for one budget form, and within that budget form could be distributed, how the money is going to be distributed throughout the community. Since the cities and counties are going to be responsible for this, they'll want to be able to, have that kind of laid out. And for the application process, we really just want to see like what the initial thoughts are, the conversations that I've been having. I know I've been having questions about folks asking if they need to have all the businesses that they targeted ahead of time. And I'm going to be kind of relaxed on that piece. I want the cities and counties to be targeting those businesses and starting those conversations. But if they have a little bit of flexibility for businesses that come in later, I want to make sure that those folks might be able to utilize some of those funds. So it should just be one budget. And if I'm not mistaken, that's all the budget forms located within our grant documentation. If not, I will double check and get it to you.
Okay, so are you saying that the only thing that is necessary on that budget form is the businesses and the amount that's going to each business, or does there need to be an itemized list for how the businesses are using the money?
I don't think we need the itemized piece here. We want to know over like kind of the idea of what they're going to be doing with the funding. The rest of that's going to come down to the city and counties confirming that they're using the funding properly. So you could use the single budget on and say, business A is going to be purchasing an e-commerce system, business B, business C, things like that. And that breakdown will be then submitted through, we'll double check that on our end when we get it submitted on our end.
Thinking about it. So you do, like the city's gonna have one and they're gonna have multiple labs. So it'll be similar to like housing rehab, if you will.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, if we talk about it and there's any other changes, we'll let you all know. But for now, I think we feel comfortable with that.
I do have one more question. This is about YJT though. I'm trying to put some packets together and can I use an old self-certification form for those packets?
A recent award.
Yep.
If it's just a form, they're just self-certification form. I don't see why you could. I don't think anything has gotten updated majorly that we would need information on that we haven't collected in the past.
Okay, because it would really just be me updating their county's numbers.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that sounds good, Crystal.
Any other questions out there?
I'm not seeing any in the chat.
All right, I know Nancy Daniels is on here. I owe you an email, Nancy, so I'll send it soon. Anybody else have anything? Any questions about anything? CVR, upcoming programs, projects you're working on, recent awards? Anything at all?
I got a question for you. This is Kelly in Lincoln County.
Hey, Kelly.
And I apologize. I have had somebody in my office, so I am just now kind of starting to pay attention. So if you if you've already covered this, I'm sorry. I do have a question about DUNS numbers and UEI numbers.
Yeah,
So, and Brandon, I think I sent you an email about this a while ago about a motel owner who bought the business after the date,
Yeah.
even though the motel has been in existence for a long time. How do we know what his UEI number is, or if that's the same number from before? And the DUNS number, I mean, I guess trying to look up in sam.gov, it doesn't look like he has a UEI number. And looking up DUNS number, it looks like it's probably been out there for a while, like, but who knows whether the last owner changed the DUNS number to his name. So I guess I'm just wondering, how do I confirm that?
that's a super good question, and I'm not very familiar with the kind of like how intricate those numbers are and some of the stuff behind it. So I might need to do a little research on that, Kelly.
Okay.
I know we've got a couple folks that I sent by that do a lot of work in sam.gov, and so I can chat with them as soon as I get done with this call. I will have an answer to you before I leave for today.
Awesome.
Because I did see your email and I want to make sure I get back to you. So give me about 30 minutes after this call and I'll try and have something to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to dig into it and I just got confused by sam.gov and
Yeah. I think the transition and stuff for these new numbers, I've heard the folks behind me talk about some of the difficulties that they've been having with it too. So I know
Okay.
it's not the easiest kind of program to navigate.
Okay.
So if you had a DUNS, you have to go out and get the UEI?
I hope it would have done automatically, but well, I guess we'll see here in a little bit. But you brought up a good point, Kelly. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Going based off of that, so I was a little bit confused. Brandon, you had sent an email that said the DUNS or the UEI number had to be before March 2020, but I'm confused. Does it have to be the EIN for the start of the business, or does that UEI number play into that?
The UEI, shouldn't those be connected to the start of the business date? Like the number that changed, it shouldn't be like, oh, the starting date is when that transition happened. It should have been associated with the start of the business date.
I don't think UEIs were maybe even a thing in 2020. I mean, they
Yeah.
probably were, but
But DUNS were correct.
yes, but there's so much confusion around that DUNS system, and you might have had multiple ones that you had to go back and link to a UEI. That's I agreed, I think, with Holly when I thought you were tagging it to an EIN, not to the UEI or the DUNS.
Let me do some talking with the team and get an email out to everybody, because there might be some confusion with DUNS, UEI, EIN. There's a lot of acronyms getting thrown around that might just be getting kind of mixed up. So let me verify with everybody, do a little bit of research, and then get back to you all so that we have a specific yes moving forward on how we'll be using that number.
Okay, great. Yeah, a lot of the businesses I spoke to, they never, registered on sam.gov specifically for any grants or anything like that. So they're not even sure what the DUNS or UEI are.
Okay. It would make sense then that I want to be using something that the businesses have access to, because it just, yeah. And my background has been in nonprofit work, so I'm used to the other ones. So that could be the confusion on my end, but I will get an email out to everybody that clarifies this all up no later than the end of the day tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a great question. Thank you.
Where do we go to view the commercial rehab application for 2023 funding?
We're gonna drop that in the chat. We're gonna drop the link right in the chat. For those of you who don't know, if you go to our website, CDBG Kansas, You should be able to see all of our programs that are available currently. You can click on any of the programs. It'll bring up their program page. Within that program page, we'll have guidelines at how to apply and what makes you eligible. There's also a tool where you can type in the name of your city or county and it will tell you your LMI numbers. So Cherie, if you find something on there you like, please reach out to us to have further discussions.
I had another question. So CBR question again. For professional development, would travel costs be included in eligible expenses? Say to a training conference.
Yes, so I've been thinking about this and I would say, yes, it will. I just want, it needs to be, not first class. It doesn't need to be like an international conference that they're going to, someplace, something like that. It needs to be reasonable. But yes, I want to make sure that's included because a lot of folks, if it's online is great, but I know a lot of folks would want to go in person somewhere and get that training. And so I just want to make sure it's a high quality experience for them. So we'll be including travel in the cost of PD. Okay,
perfect. And to what extent is that, like, for instance, would that be like hotel? And where's the line between, like, would it cover meals or gas or transportation if you have to, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Thanks. We have to dive into some deep HUD guidelines on that one.
Find the line. We'll find those.
Yeah, we'll find out where we can't go, but let's go. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that specifically, Holly, but travel and everything, yes, for sure.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I had a business that it kind of did her own estimates of what it would cost for plane ticket and hotel. And I think she did an estimate for transportation costs for, when she's there, like car or something.
That would definitely be included for sure.
Okay, good.
To bring someone in.
That would be like when you land somewhere and then all the transportation costs, the logistics would be covered for sure. We'll need to double check on the food piece.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. You all know how to reach us. Emails are usually the best because we're kind of scattered all over the place. I know for me, especially with CVR related things, if I'm not getting back to you in 24 hours, please email me again. I'm getting there's just a lot happening with things and I don't want stuff to fall through the cracks. And I feel like the past couple of days I've been getting blasted with a lot of questions. So give me 24 hours and if nothing gets to you, hit me again. And I will be sure to get back to you with then. I just might need a little reminder. So yeah, anything else from anybody here in the room on the team?
No, that's it.
Well, Brandon,
Yep.
Would it be all right for me to give you a call after this?
Yeah, Holly, I emailed you this morning to set up a time. So just let me know whenever, if you want to chat after this, I can give you a call.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.